When building a drawing, there's a few concepts to consider. One, using an accumulation of marks to build the forms. Two, point-to-point drawing, taking a line back and forth between 2 points. Three, construction lines to help understand a form. And four, using primary simple shapes to begin a drawing. So to illustrate some of these concepts here, let me draw a square. Okay, there's a square. Now I'm going to redraw that same square right next to it, but this time I'm going to use an accumulation or a buildup of marks to make my square. I'm also working between 2 points, back and forth, kind of like a windshield wiper. And if I do that, I'm going to get a truer square out of it. I can always go in with an eraser and fix it up. I can tighten it up. And then redraw if I need to refine. But the idea of building a form up with an accumulation and working with a point-to-point concept helps to get a stronger shape in there. I'm going to draw a quick circle. Okay, now I'm going to draw a circle with an accumulation or build-up. And my goal is just to keep working that form until I get a nice circle out of it. And the more I work it, the better I'm going to get at it. The edges of the forms can always be refined. There's always going to be these rogue marks that go kind of crazy. But the idea is the more that you work that form, the truer and better it's going to be. Working with construction lines is similar. If I draw a cube, for example, the idea of a construction line would be to complete that form and understand it's in three dimensions. So that becomes a transparent cube, but by drawing that back edge, you sort of know and understand the construction of the form. And those lines can be obviously erased too if it's an opaque cube. Using primary forms is also a good way to start a drawing. Not to get too detailed, not to get too detailed too quickly. And so if you think of an artist wooden mannequin as a model, you've got the spheres, the cylinders, the ovoid or egg of the head, and those kinds of simplified primary forms are a great way to start a drawing and then refine and add detail as you go. I've chosen to draw this transparent plastic container, and I'm going to work with these concepts. I'm going to start at the top and create this continuous ellipse that represents the top of the cap. I've got the sides of the cap. I'm working back and forth between those points. And then what I'll also do is I'll draw the base of the cap all the way through, even though it's an opaque cap. That just sort of helps me understand the form a lot better. And I can always eliminate that later. So I've used some construction lines to create this cap, and I've used this accumulation of marks. I'm drawing fairly lightly so I can work my forms and accumulate my marks until I'm really happy with how it's coming out. Moving down, a lot of ellipses happening in this picture, in this object, and a lot of continuous mark making, working point to point right here on the edges there. One thing that might help is to draw a line down the center of the picture that represents the axis of the vertical form as it's sitting on the table. And I'm just going to work quickly here to get these elliptical forms in, keeping it simple. Using my construction lines, keeping to just the basic shapes. The axis helps me kind of create the symmetry. I can eliminate that later. Just building it back and forth helps me get a more solid construction going. And obviously I'm going to have a lot of, rogue marks that kind of go every which way, but that's okay. I can get rid of them. I can change them. I can erase them. So there's a basic kind of structure. I kept it simple to just primary shapes. I've used construction lines. I've worked point to point where possible, back and forth, or continuously if I've got these ellipses going all the way around. And then I can use my eraser to refine rogue marks as I go.